Comic exposure begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Comic Exposure Podcast. My name is Josh, and with me is my hulking Dark Knight, my beastly enemy, or not enemy, enemy of evil. The one, the only.
Dun, 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 smoke over Gotham. I'm Travis Rat's iPod. Travis
I like
Rat's
it.
here.
I like it. Welcome to the Comic Exposure Podcast, where Travis Rats and I dive deep into graphic novels and trades, and it's like a book club, but with comic books. And on this episode, we continue Batmanuary. Last episode, we talked about Batman and Robin Year One, a pulpy, throwbacky Batman story with ground level criminals plus Clayface, a small cast of characters for you to kind of really sink your teeth into, 12-issue run to kind of give you this full year. And now we are completely 180ing with a Batman story we are reading that we read for this week. We read Absolute Batman, Volume 1. So I think it's 6 issues of Absolute Batman as DC kicked off its Absolute era last year, bringing us Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman. I do believe Absolute Vodka, Absolute. I do believe there was a Martian Manhunter and a maybe an Aquaman.
I'd be curious about that if they follow the same kind of
the Absolute
tone.
Martian Manhunter is weird. It doesn't feel like this.
What is the absolute mean in DC Universe? I mean, I can make a guess on what it means based on the Todd Snyder Absolute Batman. Is it like dark? Scott Snyder, yeah.
Yeah, so apparently this is supposed to be a world that is darker, grimmer, where the characters do not have the support systems that they have.
Oh, so I wasn't wrong when I said Scott Snyder's Batman.
Yes, yeah. But this is, I would say, this feels very like a comical version. And I don't, comical isn't the right word, but let's think about like Zack Snyder's Justice League. What if we took that sensibility and we amped it up and made it a little silly, but not silly in a way that you laugh at it, but silly and you're like, what kind of way? That's what this is.
Well,
like,
here's the thing, Josh.
If Batman could go to 11, that's what this is, Travis Rats.
There you go. Batman goes to 11. Here's the thing. So it was really interesting. I finished reading this book and I took a shower and I was like, what's that? And I was like, is that a bat pube? I feel like this is like post-puberty Batman.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan Batman.
We could have a conversation about that, and I'm curious about that idea of this. It feels very, remember, and I literally last episode I talked about having reread Batman Nightfall. This is Azrael's Batman, right? That, remember the big metally Batman with all the...
Oh, I don't even look at a picture. It's right? Well ingrained in my memory.
It feels like, well, what if that guy were just Bruce Wayne? What if that was the only Batman?
What if he utilized those spikes on his helmet a little bit more?
Yeah. What if he had a giant axe? Like, it's going to be easy for us to kind of joke around and make fun of this idea.
It sounds like I'm poo-pooing it. I really enjoy this book.
I don't want to like go off the rails about how silly this is, but this in itself is a silly concept. It is like extreme. Remember what?
Yeah.
Okay.
If Mountain Dew were to sponsor Batman, Bruce Wayne couldn't. Yeah.
Hear me out, Travis Rats. Do you remember Valiant comics? Do you remember Valiant?
Yeah, of course.
I know that I believe that we read some Valiant redos on here.
My favorite one was Crusaders, the one with the busty woman who was dressed in red. Yeah, Valiant Comics. Yeah.
Well, this is like, what if Valiant Comics made Batman, right? Like, what is, like, it is, let's just say Batman was a brand new character in the 90s, and it was made by a more independent publisher. This is Image
Comics
Batman.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. It's Savage Dragon Batman. It's Spawn Batman. It's like it's Young Blood Batman. I don't know how else to put it. And we can just play around in the silliness of this, or we can explore what is this saying about Batman. So what is Absolute Batman saying about Batman? This story takes what you know about Batman, which I think is what all good Batman stories do, and they twist it, and they do something different with it. But because this is a new universe that DC was creating, and not in the way that when you think about Ultimate Marvel, how that was like, let's create a new continuity for people who don't read comics can jump in, and they don't need to know 40 years of Spider-Man. They can jump in on Ultimate Spider-Man and join the fun. This is, let's do that, but for people who already just love Batman and continuity. Let's just, this isn't for new comic book readers. You're not dying. You didn't go see Batman, and there hasn't been a Batman movie in a while, but you didn't see the Batman movie with what's his name? Robert Pattinson, and go, I'm going to pick up a comic book. This is not the book for you. This is not normal Batman. This is a weird take, weird continuity. How different can we put it? What kind of dark, dirty world can we put these people in? And that's what we've got going on here. And so I want to, first and foremost, Travis, tell the audience what's different about this Batman. What's different about this Batman?
So this Batman, let's talk about the origin of Batman. Everyone knows it. Pearl's in Crime Alley, falling to the floor, Joe Chill's gun or whatever, splice in your villain who the creator's going to go for, has killed both Batman's parents at either an opera or a movie like Zorro or like the Fledermaus or whatever it is. Not this Batman, Josh. Yeah. This Batman's dad, not parents, mother's still alive, dies on a zoo field trip. Because guess what, Josh? Bruce Wayne's dad isn't a billionaire. He's a teacher, Josh.
He's a teacher.
A teacher. So he wanted to be a surgeon, but he ended up being a teacher. And I'm like, oh, you got me.
Yeah. So
with my profession, I could be a Batman's dad. If I had a child today, Josh,
you could be Batman's dad.
The fact that I'm a teacher,
look at
Renner, Batman.
Renner could be Batman.
My
son could be Batman.
He's already doing gymnastics.
Yeah. He's already there. He's like half a Robin right now. So we've stripped away that piece of Batman. Still, tragic origin story. Parent killed, but parent killed because little Bruce Wayne won this field trip.
Right. And one parent is still alive, which means Alfred, thesis coming, is not his butler caretaker. Yeah. He is like a special ops, black ops agent who introduces us to the world of Batman. In fact, we enter the story through the perspective of Alfred, but like badass Alfred. He's riding a motorcycle. He's buying tea in unsavory places of Gotham.
gotta get my oolong from a real strange customer.
Yeah, right? He's got his oolong tea from a place that has a tea place that has a cage because there's so many ruffians who want to rob a tea place.
Right. And he's got a room full of guns. He lives in a safe, right? His daughter is a Gothamite. It
looks like Ra's al Ghul.
He does look like Ra's al Ghul. Again, I don't know how to say this, but this is like, it is what if Batman went to 11? And I guess Absolute is the best kind of precursor.
Or maybe like if you detune Batman, if he's like D.
It's his drop D. It's drop D Batman. It's his drop D Batman. This Batman listens exclusively to Korn and Coal Chamber. And it's not even that. It's like this Batman turns on Slipknot when he's working out. It's his Slipknot Batman.
It's his follow leader Batman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all in the Bat family.
Yeah, yes, that is what we get with this, and it couldn't feel more 90s until we threw that on top of it.
I think I might. Is this the first podcast we're stopping at 10 minutes because we have peaked on critique and we cannot go any further than it's all in Bat family.
It's all in Bat family. So I don't. Again, we could spend a long time kind of poking at the silliness of this concept instead of just going along for the ride. So let's talk about the ride. I want to ask you. So what we get is this Batman, different origin story, isn't a billionaire, but is an engineer, right? Went to college, studied all this stuff to make himself the machine to solve Gotham's problems.
And how did he do this? He didn't do this for traveling the world. He did it through going through the layers of economy in Gotham.
Right.
He worked in the sewage plants. Then he worked in the legal offices. Then he worked in the construction. Then he worked in basically he knows Gotham from the sewers to the Capitol, because he's
to
worked
the top of the skyscrapers, right?
Just son.
Yeah.
Tell me in Japan, in Japanese culture, this is very much how you become the leader of a corporation. When they get hired into a corporation, you must start at the bottom, because even if you are overqualified for it, if you are going to ultimately achieve your potential with what they hired you at, you must know it from the bottom up. So you must work in the mailroom, then you must work in the finance, then you must work in the advertising. So then finally, when you are ready and ripe to pick, then you can be brought up into the executive branch.
You know the whole thing. You know it from top to bottom, which is we get Batman those sewers to the tippy tops of the buildings, and he uses his inns and all of these areas to kind of. He doesn't have a bat cave. He has several bat bunkers,
bat depots.
That's where you can get a sack of soil, some potted plants, and a 50-foot hose, and some drywall if you need it at the Bat Depot. It gives the opportunity for the writer and creators of this, right? So we've got it's Nick Dragotta is doing the art. We've got Scott Snyder as the writer, Frank Martin as the colorist, Clayton Cowles, who just letters every book on Earth, doing this. And it gives them an ability to say, hey, this is all new continuity, to do whatever you want. So we don't kill both parents. Alfred's not his butler. All of Batman's friends are surprisingly all of the villains you know. One of them's Killer Croc, one of them's the Joker, one of them's the Riddler, one of them's Two-Face, Penguin. None of them are those people yet, though. Right? Maybe the Joker is. Yeah. But they're all different. Yeah. The Joker's a billionaire, and they call him the Joker not because he tells jokes or was a comedian, but because he never laughs at anything.
Yeah.
There's a joke about there's a joke about Harvey Dent being a Two-Face, but he's not Two-Face yet, right? Catwoman is there. It was a childhood friend. It is.
She likes cats. She lives with cats.
Yeah, we're sprinkling all of these.
And our villain of this book is none other than Black Mask. Yes. Right. And so by having Black Mask, this is Batman. You're like, hey, can we make Batman mixed with the Purge? Oh, yes, we can.
Yes, we can, and we will.
Like, do you like the movie Purge? Well, here we're gonna take the villain Black Mask. We're gonna put him in a dope design, and then we're gonna give him a bunch of disciples where they all have masks that look like Purge masks, and they're like highly technical, like Bone Mask or like Creepy Fox Mask. And when you put them on, it gives you targets, and you get cryptocurrency for like arson or stealing something or murder. And so his ultimate design is to throw Gotham into chaos and make it like ultimately a black site prison. It sounds like is the ultimate thing. But first you have to destroy it in chaos. So it becomes like, well, what if I turned all its citizens into criminals by offering them a way to make money?
Which is a wonderfully prescient
political
current reality sort of thing. Like, what if we took social media and made it evil? What if we took techno crypto bros and made them evil? It is an interesting concept. I like the idea of these criminals being criminals, not because they're bad, but because they need to survive, but because of groupthink and group psychology. That, yes, if I put on a mask, no one knows who I am. And if I am going to earn my way out of the slums of Gotham or just my dead-end job by doing crimes and getting paid for them in this way, then yeah, I'm going to do it. Right? That is a really interesting concept. I really like the idea of Gotham against Batman. And we've seen it, the Dark Knight movies with Nolan. I'm the hero Gotham deserves, not the hero it needs, all that stuff, right? The city's turning against me. Batman, when the fear toxin goes off and everybody's at him. It's a well-tread concept of Gotham being against Batman. But this is done in a different, interesting way that I found really interesting. But I don't know that I liked the aesthetics of it. Does that make sense? I like the concept of it. I don't like what it looks like.
It's
right?
I think the idea, artistic wise, what Nick
Dragotta
is like the sense. I get it. I get the sense like, what if I just make him a brutish, heavy metal Batman? This is a spiky Batman. Josh, this Batman has so many spikes coming out of him. Like, he's like a little porcupine Batman.
Yeah.
His cowl ears, which was pretty dope, are actually
that is a rad idea.
That's a good idea. He's got like these thumb chain things that become these sharp, malleable things on there. He's got bike spacks. He's got this weird kind of like alien-esque cowl that goes down his back that
can turn into arms and stuff, right? Like this.
Yeah, basically he's a little batty porcupine patty is what he is. Which makes for some good stills, impossible splash pages in the book where it's just like brutal, heavy metal Batman. And which works in the sense of like an album. Like, I don't have a lot of heavy metal albums in my CD Rolodex or my vinyl collection, but I got a couple. And when I'm feeling that tone, nothing will hit it like those albums. Right. And this is kind of the way I feel like with Batman. I think I don't think I've ever read the whole thing, but what was the Batman, like the Joker, He Who Laughs, where it was like
the Batman
Middle Ages the Batman Who Laughs, which very much feels similar to this aesthetic, but that
Dark
was
Knight
really
metal.
Extreme. Yeah. And
which is also Scott Snyder, right?
Yeah. Where it's just a sense of like, let's just do like it, in a certain sense, I respect it because there is this aspect of comic culture, which is very D&D, 1980s, heavy metal, hairband market that's still out there, which I think this is kind of trying to hit. They're probably in their late 40s now, mid to late 40s. They
read all of those. They read Young.
They are Scott Snyder, probably. You know, in certain sense. I don't want to project that on Scott Snyder, which it's cool. And I get it. And I like the taste of it. But I was never one of those guys for a reason.
Right.
Because I can't live in this kind of tone or world too long before it feeling like it's starting to be a little oppressive over my psyche.
We're a little goofy.
Grim, yeah.
Like goofily grim. It's so grim that it becomes silly. We just talked about it. There's like one page. It's 2 pages. He yanks out his ears and then gets little cowl ears. The ears are still there, but they're shorter, right? Mm-hmm. Look, I love long-eared Batman. I love that this long-eared Batman can pull them out. And then he stabs a dude with them.
Dope. Yep.
And then he puts them back in, and this giant hulking guy with a cleaver comes. He's like, I'm going to mess you up. And then Batman, this weird-looking bat symbol on his chest. You're like, why does that bat symbol look like a steamroller rolled over a bat? Why is that the symbol? Well, that's the symbol because it's actually a freaking axe, and he like pulls it off his chest and then chops a dude's arm off. Like, it is so over the top, brutal. Corn, coal chamber.
Yeah.
I wore a Spawn shirt way too late.
I felt the air rise up in me, kneel down and clear the stone and leaves. It
is very
Iowa. It's Slipknot.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it at this purely because I liked the experiment of how can I do Batman differently, and what we did. So it's going to be hard not to compare this to what we read with
Batman and Robin Year One.
Batman and Robin Year One gives you a take on Batman. It's a very well-respected writer giving you his take on Batman, which puts Batman in this classic pulpy thing. And he's not redesigning wholesome, yeah. And then you've got Scott Snyder who goes, and look, we can go back in Batman 0 year. His run of Batman was great, right?
Great
Run of Batman.
Run was fantastic.
Court of Owls, all of those are good, interesting thing. The Joker who cut someone's face off, and where's the face on his face, right? Scott Snyder. So Scott Snyder did his take on Batman. So what does he have left?
Nothing to prove. Yeah.
What does he have left to do but do the weirdest, goofiest takes on Batman and the experiment? And I'm here for the experiment. I like to throw the rules out the window and go, hey, here's a character but let's just make it just almost unrecognizable. He didn't lose both of his parents. He's not a billionaire. Alfred's a sass, deep state, weird assassin.
The interesting
None
thing
of the characters
about not losing both your parents and having your mom there, who also is the deputy mayor of Gotham. It's like, okay, well, if one of the parents is still alive, doesn't it feel like that should be the Batman story, is like more their relationship with each other? Because it's like, we haven't seen that before. What if one of Batman's parents did survive? Wouldn't that be the thrust of the story, is like ultimately how their connection drives his decision making? And to a very, very minimal degree, it actually does not.
No, it doesn't at all. I'm curious, we've only read volume 1. I do believe I think volume 2 is about to come out, right?
Yeah, with Bane.
So there's part of me that goes like, okay, I want to know where this goes. I want to know, because look, we talked about how Batman and Robin does not Easter egg you. There's not like someone walks by and they're like, oh, that must be Selena Kyle, right? There's no one. Yeah. We're not going like, what do you know about? There's this guy. He leaves calling cards. They're jokers, right? Like, we're not getting that. This is very much like, hey, his whole friend group is going to be villains. If you just wait long enough.
This is the problem when you do like an alternate take on something, is because like, oh, you get everything you want with this universe. So it's like, we want to see how he handled the Joker. We want to see how he handled Bane.
Right.
We want to see it all very quickly. And there's a sense of like, a good storyteller will have patience and be like, okay, let me give you just like my take on Batman with a couple of key ingredients I want on here. And if you like that, then we can talk later about like dropping in the Penguin. Well, who's the Penguin in this world, or the Riddler in this world, or the Croc in this world, or the Joker in this world, or Selena Kyle in this world, or Barbara Gordon in this world. I mean, all these things are dropped out in 6 issues.
Right.
And it's a lot. It's because there's patience. It's like patience. It's like, okay, I think in order for a series to run for a long time and to have the runway to do an absolute Batman, the Batman has to work regardless of the Easter eggs.
Right.
And I think the Batman here does work.
It does.
I like the fact that he is like underground. I'm a little confused by the fact that he doesn't have money, but yet he has millions upon millions of dollars of gadgets and vehicles. Because ultimately the big crux at the end of it is like Black Mask is like, I will pay you $200 million to not work for a week as Batman. And he's like, think about the things you could do with that money. Think about how big you could make Batman. Think about how much good you could do. And then ultimately the thesis is like, you threw all that away. He goes, Batman, I'm all I need. This is all I need for Batman. But it's also like, this is all you need. How are you getting this? Like, how did you get that giant vehicle that you drove Alfred out of the building with? How do you have all these drop spots on?
He works for the city government, man. He just stole a bulldozer and turned it into a bulldozer.
I would love that kind of federal job, city job, where you can like.
No one knows that a giant bulldozer is missing.
Or it could have been an easy fix if the reason that he worked in all those places is because it's like. I'm watching that show Landman right now, and they talk about in the oil industry is like giant oil equipment goes missing for like a month at a time, and then it'll be returned because drug cartels use it, and then they return it because if they don't return it, then it gets reported. But it's easier for just the oil companies to be like, okay, this is gone for a month. We'll see if it comes back before we report it.
Yeah.
And that seems like a good fix for like Batman has found loopholes with the system's equipment where they can like, I work construction. They park 12 of these things down here every night. No one's going to miss one.
Right.
You know,
I think that's just, I wonder, like, just because of the speed of this, and we like this moves quick. We have to get the villain introduced. We have to have the crux of the story. We have to learn Batman and Alfred and his backstory and all of this very quickly in 6 issues. Right. We had to fire hose you with this stuff. And because of that, there are questions like, well, where do you get the giant dumpster from? Why? And there's parts of me that like we introduced so many things so quickly in this. And then there's a whole issue that's a weird backstory issue drawn by someone else who I love. It's Walta, right? It's Gabriel. Walta. He did Vision. He did that Lemire book we read where they're in the desert and the weird monsters. Shoot, it's on my shelf. But
the desert weird monsters.
Yeah, we just read it last year. We had to read 2 volumes because it.
Oh, the highway one.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, so he draws an issue on here where like the Batman doesn't look anything like the other Batman. Is that him? Is it him when he's first trying out this Batman? So he doesn't have all his gadgets yet. It's just this story throws a lot at you, which I think that's the balancing act when you create a new universe, right? How much am I going to throw at you right away? How much do I have to show you that this is different than the one that you know? I don't want you to be comfortable because I want you to feel uncomfortable because you don't know how different this world is. So I think that like Snyder is forced to throw a bunch of stuff at us because we're supposed to be learning this world, and I think we learn it too fast. I didn't dislike this book. I'm trying to like
as a storyteller, I think you need to approach it as, what's my focus, the character or the world? Here's an example where we've seen the world. What was the Batman book we read, like Dead World? That was Wonder Woman, but what was the Batman equivalent with it?
Yeah, where he like has the Joker head in the
let's think of this. Old Man Logan is about the world. Like Logan isn't really that. It's not about the character of Logan. It's about like, oh, hey, your enjoyment of the story is us exploring this world.
Right.
But the other opposite coin is like the world is secondary to you first loving this character. And I think Scott Snyder's trying to do both in 6 issues. It's a tough balancing act.
Right.
When you're trying to be like, no, I want the world to be central, but I also want the Batman character to be central to you. And it's like, well, yeah, you can do that over 70 issues.
Right.
But when you're trying to like give a nice 50-50 in 6 issues, it's like, no, I don't feel super connected to the world at the end of 6 issues. And I don't still feel super connected to this particular style of Batman in the end of 6 issues. So it's like, do you want to like be building to 100% of both? with across like 20 and I'm just not there yet? Or do you want to give me an entry point? Is the entry point exploring the world, or is the entry point caring about this character?
And I think like he's doing this job of like, oh, I got to show you how this is so different than the other universe. How this Batman's different, how this world's different, how these characters are different, but I'm going to do it real fast. And it was a ride. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was off the rails. It was like, there were moments that I was like, oh, that's pretty tough, right? Like
it was a page turner. You turn it, you're like, oh, I've never seen that before. We always talk about like what I have not seen before, and this gave me a bunch of stuff I had not seen Batman do before.
Yeah, like the ears go forward and they stabs him into he stabs him into the
bull.
dude's eyeballs, right? A whole splash page where he does that. You get like Batman beat to crap. You get like what is with
Bullet
Joker
shooting a machine gun with like guns off a helicopter, you know, Commissioner Bullock.
Yeah, you get the
mom.
bat. You get his mom. You get the bat shotgun that shoots little batarangs into.
You get one of my favorite things is the bat signal that is designed from blackmail bribery money.
Yes. Yeah.
That was dope when he was like the really like rough outline of a bat that he made stacking up the $2 million that was blackmail money for him. That was dope.
It's just an interesting. This is something where I wish. This is one of those things where we read Batman and Robin year 1. It was a 12-issue complete thing. I don't believe the plans for Absolute Batman are 12 issues and it's done. I think it's an ongoing world. It's going to take as long as they can sell it, right? And there's part of me that goes, I think a story like this would be better if you said we're going to tell a 12-issue story. This feels like we're going to shove all this stuff right here so that over the next 40 issues we can play with all of it, right? I'm dumping the toys out on the table right now. I'm going to show you how weird all of this is so that I can spend the next however long it takes to tell this weird story, as opposed to I'm going to tell this story in over 12 issues. I'm going to show you how this world is different. I'm going to show you how this Batman's different. I'm going to show you how his rogues gallery is different.
Open one door at a time.
Yes, this opens all the doors and then goes, we'll see where we get.
Yeah.
We'll see how many issues we get.
I honestly think there's enough in here that I would say this story has a lot of potential. I just encourage it to slow down. Yeah,
I would agree. Fun. Let's talk art really quick. The art's ridiculous. It really is. Like, it's silly. It's over the top. It's big. It's brutal. I don't love Nick Dragotta. There's some weird character designs. The Black Mask guy, very cool.
Love him.
The weird alien thing that lives with him, weird. The DJ,
it looked like the Jedi from like Phantom Menace, like the weird
Is that purposeful? Is that an alien? What is this thing?
And the other like Falcones, they go in there like, oh, we're just cool with different species. We're cool with that. Like in this world, like we've seen different species of aliens before.
Or is that an alien? Or is it just like a weird headpiece he's wearing? Like it
doesn't look like it. He's got a whole family of them.
I know, and it doesn't explain anything. That's just a weird thing that's not explained.
I think we're missing that, Josh. I think that was probably a character in some other Bat story that we did not.
I don't think so. I think it's just weird. I think it's a weird thing to be weird. I will tell you the thing that makes me curious about the art on this is we have not seen his design for any villain that we know, right?
Black Mask.
Right, but I mean, like, I want to know, what does his Joker look like? What is his Killer Croc going to look like?
We saw those. We saw the guys, right?
But that's not, what do they look like with
their final form?
Yeah. Right? What does Joker look like with the costume on? What does Two-Face look like when he's Two-Face? These are all the things that these are the things where you stick around for this kind of story for, right? Mm-hmm. How are you going to subvert my understanding of this? And how is it going to be different? That's the piece that I'm interested in. And that's the piece that would probably get me to pick up Absolute Batman Volume 2 is to see what does he do different. You know, what does Bane look like in this world? Because if Batman's huge and hulking and gigantic,
I saw the preview for the Bane cover. It was pretty dope.
How monstrous does Bane have to be, right?
So those are the pieces. Look, Scott Snyder is going to be able to get carte blanche to do whatever he wants. DC is going to be like, Scott Snyder is a name that sells books. He's a guy who is full of ideas. Let's just let him run. Let's just let him tell a weird story. Let's let him do it. And so he's going to be able to do these things. So I know I'm going to be able to read volume 2 and probably a volume 3, but I'm curiosity is what's going to get me through this, not the strength of the story. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I don't think Scott Snyder, from what I know about him, describes himself as an artist. He's just a workman. He's just like, no, this is my job, writing comics, and he's got that. I don't know if he still has that Comics Unlimited deal, but I'm sure he's stretched thin too.
Yeah, I mean he's writing a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah,
but he's got a lot of ideas.
He's not a Grant Morrison where he's like, yeah, I'll pick it because I've always wanted to do an X-Men, and here's my take on it.
And I want to know I want to study the metaphysical idea.
He's done like Snyder's done so much Batman. Like now we're getting his like back of the fridge. You know, like what's in the back of the fridge? Like what can you make us in the back of the fridge? Because you think about that, that's gotta be a real struggle for comic book artists who've written a character in multiple different new openings, being like, I've been able to do whatever I wanted with Batman, not just once. It wasn't like, hey, what's your take on Batman? But multiple times.
Right.
They given him like the Batman Who Laughs, the New 52 Batman type stuff, and now this stuff like that. He's been able to not only write Batman, but restart Batman several times. And
do his own take.
You're like, right? At some point, you're like, how many sauces are left in the fridge?
So my dad was the one who made dinner a lot, right? Because my mom worked second shift. So my dad made dinner a lot. And he had several things that he made always. Goulash, Spanish rice, like anything that you could do in one pot. Some meat, a grain or a pasta.
A simmer.
Some tomatoes, let it simmer and you're good. One time, and this your back of the fridge comment reminds me of this. One time he made something that will live in infamy and maybe fame in the Buckley house. I could not tell you what it was. I just remember that he threw a bunch of stuff in a pot and called it garbage souffle. And that was like, we would talk about, you could never make it again because it was like what was left, right? Or
Pickles,
my mom would make
cheese.
My mom would make eggs and she would take whatever leftover meat we had that week. So if like my dad made, like if we did brats on the grill or something like that, my mom would like throw, some eggs and some potato and whatever was in the fridge. And that would be Buckley eggs, right? And my dad made garbage souffle. And that's what this feels like to me, is like, I don't know, man, let's just try this. Throw this in there. Social media. Let's make a critique about social media. Sprinkle that in there. Batman's a brutalist. Put that in there. I don't know. We've done, Alfred has training and that's how he knows that's already been in it, but let's make him not even a butler. He's not even going to pretend that he's a butler. Let's just do this. Right.
Let's make him James Bond. Yeah.
Let's make him James freaking Bond. So interesting take. Enjoyed it. How is this? And I think, Travis, maybe our next episode, maybe we have this conversation. And I'm throwing this out there. It might not be the next episode, people. This is how we don't plan this show, because we're about 46 minutes in right now. We've been chatting for a while, so I don't want to belabor this, but I would like to have a conversation about what makes a Batman story work, what makes a Batman story not work. I want to go there. I don't think we have time to go there here. What makes this story versus Batman Year One, Batman and Robin Year One, what makes them different? What makes one excel and the other excel? How is Batman so malleable?
I think another aspect I want to ask, if we do an episode like this, or a question I would want to ask is, as people who are not like we are by no means the keeper of Batman. We haven't read every Batman book, but we've read a lot, and Josh has read more than me. And in this podcast, Batman has probably dominated a lot of the superhero books that we've read. And we're both fans of the arcs. So it becomes now, like, at our age and with our pretty, I would say, above average reading of Batman for the average American citizen, what areas of Batman are left to explore? Like, what's the back of the fridge look like for us? Like, what hasn't been pulled out?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What hasn't? What would we cobble together?
What would you put in your garbage Buckley stew?
Yeah. What would it look like if we were to redo Batman? What would you change? What do you keep? Right. That's a good question. That's a good question.
What do I want to see more? Like, what of Batman has no one, like, what aspect of Batman? I'm like, get a little bit deeper into there. Like, I thought we were close here with having the one mom, the single mom Batman. I thought that was like, ooh, how would Batman deal with a single mom? He's still got the tragedy of it, but like the protection of it, but also like the having to aspire. And then also, like, you have someone who has standards for you and you don't want to disappoint them, but they're also out there and vulnerable. Also, they can be used as leverage against you.
Right.
I mean, these are all things that, like that, and they can still give you advice, and they're grieving too.
Right. You have a grief Batman has a grief partner, and we don't really explore it in this. There's like one scene where he's a kid and he's mad and he throws the metal out the window, but we don't get to explore.
And at one point she says, "I'm going to kiss you, otherwise I'm going to slap you," based on what you just said.
Yeah.
I'm kissing you, otherwise I'd be slapping you. Now get out of here.
I think
I'm like, oh, that's 12 issues right there.
That is 12 issues. That exploration of Batman with one parent. How does it make him a different crime fighter? How does it make him more vulnerable or not vulnerable? Is very interesting. Okay.
And it also would make a great Hallmark holiday special movie.
It would. I like it.
Single Miss Wayne.
Christmas in Gotham.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. Christmas in Gotham. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. You can find the podcast over at comicexposure.com or wherever you get your podcasts at. Like us, rate us, review us on your favorite podcast app. Share us with your friends. Maybe you guys are Batman people, Batman fans. Batmanuary. We are 2 books in. We're going to call on Audible and see if there's a 3rd book, where we're going to come at you with whatever's next on the agenda, Travis Rats. We have not we took a break, like a month off from the show, and did not decide on that. I think there's a set of books simmering. But
I know what's next.
What's next? Yeah. Oh, you know what's next?
We're doing Partisan and
we are.
Okay. World War II.
All right. So there you go. We're doing the themes continue. We're doing a TKO read. We're going to do 2 books from TKO. We read Sarah a long time ago.
TKO, oh, it's February. I don't know. I can't name it.
We read TKO Sarah a long time ago. The sequel to Sarah is out. And then, of course, they did a buy one, get one sale. And so we bought a weird pulpy Witches of World War II. And that'll be a good little read. I haven't read them yet. Did you read them?
No. Actually, I'm going to start. I got them hardcover.
Fantastic.
And they're sitting here. I'm actually going to start reading it tonight. And we're going to start with...
I don't know. Sarah? The Sarah sequel?
Partisan. Okay. Yeah.
Let's do that one.
That's good. That's a good segue into getting back into TKO.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next trade.